Good morning, Ms. Cheng. My name is Juraimi and this is my ISSE presentation. So on the agenda today we have three items. The first item is IT laws, second item is access controls, and the last item is endpoint security. So for IT laws, I picked 5 IT laws which are relevant to the company. And I picked these 5 IT laws from 2 acts. The first act is the Computer Misuse Act. So the first law from this act is S3, Unauthorized Access to Computer Material. The impact of this is important, as the impact of this is unauthorized users will be able to see the data that they do not have access to. The next law is S5, Unauthorized Use or Interception of Computer Services. The impact of this is unauthorized users can trace the infos that are sent over the company network. The third law is S8, Unauthorized Disclosure of Access Code. This means that unauthorized users are able to gain access to secure data using unsecured access codes. Unsecured access codes being passwords which are left on the desk or are written down, etc. Moving on to laws from the Personal Data Protection Act 2012, the first is S21, Access to Personal Data. The impact of this is unauthorized users will be able to use this personal data to conduct social engineering attacks. The next one is S24, Protection of Personal Data. The impact of this is unauthorized users will be able to copy or modify personal data. Moving on to access controls. The current access controls that the company employs is firstly the open door policy and secondly the open data center. The open door policy refers to when employees will go to their management staff to discuss about any issues that they might have. The open data center refers to the data center being open for everybody, any employee to come in. So I recommend 4 physical access controls that can be implemented. The first physical control is to segregate rooms to act as meeting rooms for the department. As the company promotes an open door culture, to keep promoting this open door culture, by segregating the rooms, they can still have their open door policy meetings in these rooms without anybody eavesdropping, as well as the departments can also use these meeting rooms to hold any meetings regarding confidential data without anybody eavesdropping as well. The second physical control is to install security cameras in the office. This will allow the facility security department to observe the area in the office, which will reduce anything negative happening. The third control is to install card readers on the doors. By installing these card readers on the doors, this will ensure that only those who are authorized to enter a location will be able to enter that specific location. For example, only the IT staff are able to access the data center. And the last physical control is to place workbooks in the different department areas. By placing these workbooks, it will reduce the likelihood of staff seeing the contents of their colleagues' workstation as they walk past. So this is a picture of before and after the physical controls are implemented. So as you can see here, the dotted areas are where the departments will be located, and inside these dotted areas will be where the work booths are located. The card readers will be placed at the data center and the meeting rooms, and as you can see here, cameras are placed around the office with 100% coverage. This is for the Singapore office. The Malaysia and Indonesia office are similar with the 2 meeting rooms here and the departments here as well as the data center here. Moving on to the logical access controls, there are 3 logical access controls that I recommend to be implemented. The first is to assign a unique employee ID and department ID to each employee. This unique employee ID will allow employees to be easily identified, which fulfills the identification aspect in IAAA. The second logical control is to assign a smart card to each employee. So these smart cards will contain personal identification of the employee, which is protected by either a PIN or password of their choosing. These smart cards can also be used to authorize who the employees are, and it reduces the chance of any unauthorized users gaining access to data that they should not be gaining access to. The last logical access control is to adopt the least privilege principle. So this means that employees are only given enough permissions and right to do their jobs, nothing more, nothing less. So this will reduce the damages done if hackers gain access to one's account. Moving on to endpoint security. So the 5 endpoint security measures that I picked are 17.1.1, ensure audit credential validation is set to success and failure. 17.2.5, ensure audit user account management is set to success and failure. 17.5.4, ensure audit logon is set to success and failure. 17.8.1, ensure audit sensitive privilege use is set to success and failure. 17.9.1, ensure audit IPsec driver is set to success and failure. So let's move to the virtual box and we can view the report. So in the report, you can see that 17.1.1 set to fail, 17.2.5 set to fail, 17.5.4 set to fail, 17.8.1 set to fail, and 17.9.1 set to fail. So to set these to go from failure to pass, we go into GP edit, which is edit group policy. So I already have it open. And all these controls can be located under computer configuration, Windows settings, security settings, advanced audit policy configuration, system audit policies. So here is where the measures are located. So moving back to our presentation, 17.1.1. This control reports the results of validation tests on credentials submitted for user account logon requests. This is important as it allows administrators to check the login logs. Just to set this from failure to success, we first have to go to account logon and audit credential validation. So back to VirtualBox, account logon, audit credential validation, set this to success, failure, apply, OK. Moving on to the next control, 17.2.5. This control reports each event of user account management. So for example, when a user account is created or deleted. So this is important as administrators can track events to detect malicious, accidental, or authorized creations of user accounts. So to change this, we go into account management, audit user account management. So back to VirtualBox, account management, audit user account management, configure, success, failure, apply, OK. So we go on to the next control, which is 17.5.4. This control reports when a user attempts to log into a system. So this is important as it allows administrators to easily identify anyone who is trying to gain access to the company system. If this is not configured properly, it will be close to impossible to identify who is accessing the system. So to change this, we go into logon, log off, audit logon. So back to VirtualBox, logon, log off, audit logon. So we set this to configure success, failure, apply, OK. So the next control is 17.8.1. This control reports when a user account or service uses a sensitive privilege. And this is important as it used to track who performs high privilege level commands, which is usually done by administrators. This keeps the administrators honest and accountable, as any actions performed by them will be easily audited and checked by the investigative team if there is a security incident. So to change this, we go into privilege use, audit sensitive privilege use. So back to VirtualBox, privilege use, audit sensitive privilege use. So configure, success, failure, apply, OK. So the last control is 17.9.1. This control reports on the activities of the Internet Protocol Security driver or IPsec driver. So for such examples of activities is they log events when the IPsec driver drops an inbound packet that fails an integrity check. So this is important as it allows administrators to track any suspicious events that occur over the company network. So to change this, we go into System, Audit IPsec driver. So System, Audit IPsec driver, configure, success, failure. So to see that we have configured it properly, we go run a new assessment. Now that the report has been generated, we shall view the report. So, as you can see now, 17.1.1 set to pass, 17.2.5 set to pass, 17.5.4 set to pass, 17.8.1 set to pass, and 17.9.1 set to pass. So this concludes the end of my presentation. Thank you, Ms. Shing, for your kind attention.